Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have in our studio right now, we got our resident psychologist, Mr. Mohamad Almakky. And, we just brought him in just, to give us what does science say about these kind of things? What does science say about this?
I would say help us, please.
Yes, sir. So, Mohamad, hello.
Hi, Mr. Adil, Mr. Mohsen. Thank you so much for inviting me over SRFM for the second time. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed talking to you guys the last time, and I'm enjoying it this time as well. It's an interesting topic, and to think about it, do we eat to live or do we live to eat?
What do you think? Yeah, tell us. What do you think?
So normally, yes, it's in our nature to eat to live.
But what team are you on? Is it my team or Mohsen's team?
I can be in both sides. I mean, the actual scientific fact is that we eat to live, but then there is a factor that goes inside that we live to eat.
Okay.
So let's talk more about this.
Okay.
If you can see in our ancestors, they tend to hunt for food. So they stay for days or weeks to find their food. And then they eat that, and that kind of food, it has a high amount of calories or high consumption of calories to keep them going and to give them the energy they need to live.
To survive,
To survive, exactly. Nowadays, it's different. Nowadays, you can go to the nearest store, get yourself a shawarma that has a high calorie food, and you just sit in your office doing nothing. So we tend to get a high amount of calories, and we tend to get a lot of nutritions that we sometimes not need that much compared to how it was before.
What is the cost of that? What do you think the cause of that?
Well, because of the technology and all the modern life, everything became easy for us right now. That is a good kind of thing because it helps us survive even better. But then we tend to use it in a wrong way. So we tend to eat a lot of food in a very short amount of time. We eat a lot of desserts, like we eat more than 5 times a day.
That's an issue there.
Exactly. So
especially if you're a chocolate addict. Yeah.
Well, that's something different.
Well,
something different indeed.
I'm for sure going to be quite happy and unhappy about that, being a chocolate addict. I mean, happy because it boosts my, I'm going to be super hyper, and I like that.
Well, that's true. That's actually something that we study. There's a huge connection between food and dopamine level in our brain.
Okay.
So when you eat, for example, sugars, it has a high amount of dopamine level. It's a neurotransmitter that makes you happy, and when you feel happy, you get boosted with energy, and you tend to love that kind of feeling. So then you crash down.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
That's the time when you feel like you need to be happy again, so you tend to go for another piece of chocolate, and then another, and then another, and then another, and that's when things becomes a problem. That's when addiction kind of comes in place, and that's when we tend to see our lives being living to eat, not eating to live.
So do you think that we don't get enough? Like, the more we eat, the more we stay like that? Do you think so?
It depends on the quality of the food, and it depends on the selection of food. Now, when we tend to look for bad habits, like bad fast food, for example, high amount of fats and high amounts of sugar and all that stuff, this thing makes us look to find more of these products, keep eating it and eating it and eating it, and that's when we get obesity, we get diabetes and all that kind of stuff.
All right.
All right, let me ask you a question since we talk about food and we talk about eating. Why do we get the urge to eat when we feel down? When we feel, we're not in a good mood, why do we have that urge to eat a lot?
A lot of factors comes in place. But one of the factors is that because we had some kind of memory connected to this kind of food. For example, you ate the apple pie that your grandma's made. You enjoyed the time when you ate that pie, being beside your family, being beside your grandma, and then you tend to travel and go abroad to study, and you miss that kind of food. So when you eat an apple pie, you get to remember the time that you've been with your family and so on.
Or kapsa.
Or kapsa, exactly.
So there's a huge difference between kapsa and apple pie, but okay.
Food has it has an enhancement, like the taste of food, the smell of food, it gives you a sensation. It makes you remember things in the past. So sometimes when you eat something that you didn't like, or you ate something in a situation that you didn't enjoy, for example, you had your best friend, you went to a restaurant, you ate that kind of special burger, and then you had a fight with your friend. You know, and now you're not friends anymore. So you hate the idea of eating a burger because it reminds you of that friend you lost. So that also comes in place. Psychology is pretty broad, and it's all because of the neurotransmitters that happens in food, the sensations that you get from tasting it, from smelling that food. And smell has a strong influence in the psychology of the brain.
Man, the human mind is so scary.
It
to
is.
think of it this way, man.
Yes, it's very complex.
So tell me this, how does eating food change the mind?
Well, each food has its own chemicals and stuff. I'm not a nutritionist, so I'm not going to be able to talk more in this kind of...
So for example, if we, for example, like you said, we talk about memories, but what if when you're not down and you're happy and you want to eat something because you're happy?
And that also goes because of the dopamine level of that kind of food. Now, if you eat a piece of sugar, now if you like your coffee with 3 cubes of sugar, it gives you that boost of energy, that happiness, because the dopamine level increased dramatically. So it makes you super happy. And then after you finish that cup of coffee, you need another cup to boost again your energy. And that keeps you happy all the time.
Does it mean that it depletes fast, or the urge of having more and more in our system to be happy?
Okay, so how it goes is that it goes in your system, and then the dopamine level goes super high. It goes like a very, very strike, like up. And then that's when you feel super, super happy. Afterwards, that sugar gets out of your system, so that dopamine level goes down to even more than the normal line. So that's when you crave sugar. It's not that you need sugar. No, you crave it. You need that thing. Has to be in your body. That's when you look for another source of sugar to go up again. And that's the cycle that keeps going in your body. That's unhealthy. But that is something that's happening nowadays.
Okay, so let's talk about healthy food now. But we'll just take a short break and we will be right back.
Stay tuned, everyone. I'm breaking the habit, but I'm not breaking the habit of chocolate. I just can't. I just can't.
That is fun.
I just can't. All right, we got a phone call, so we're going to pick up the phone and say hello.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Yes.
How are you doing?
Sorry?
Could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, my name is Marwan Nahdi.
Marwan Nahdi, welcome to Car Talk, the Weekend Edition.
Yes, you're most welcome. Thank you so much.
So, what do you think about the topic? Like, what do you think? Do we eat to live or live to eat?
Actually, we have to eat to live.
Okay.
Not live to eat.
Okay.
Because we have to think about most poor people, like they don't have anything to eat and they just have to eat something to live.
So it's more of a charity thing to think about the others, right?
Yes. It's like siyam, fasting.
Amazing. Amazing point.
Yeah. So Islam is giving us a simple test to test our iman and to see how other people live.
So it's more into spirituality as well now, Adil.
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Do you have any question, Adil?
Okay, so tell me, what do you think about food in general? Do you think that we should eat food to get only to get strength, or eat food to enjoy it?
In fact, the most important thing is to get strong.
Okay.
But sometimes you have to eat, like snacks or something like that, chocolates or between this and that sometimes. And this, but the most important thing is to get strong.
Okay.
So it's more of an energy to get your energy to go through the day.
Yes, yes, all right.
Wonderful, Marwan. We appreciate your call on all of the inputs. Thank you very much for your call.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And welcome back, dear listeners, to Car Talk, the Weekend Edition, right here on SRFM, your one-stop entertainment. And we do have a phone call. Let's pick it up and say hello.
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 Good evening.
Good evening. Could you please
Hi.
introduce yourself?
My name is Leon.
What's that?
Layan?
Yes.
Welcome, Layan.
Yeah. Thank you.
So what do you think about the topic of the day?
Actually,
Do we eat to live or live to eat? What do you think?
Actually, I don't have anything to say, but I think we live to eat, correct?
Okay.
Yes. I don't have anything actually to say. Actually, I'm not a foodie. I'm a person who doesn't like much food, so I don't know what to say about the topic.
So you prefer living to eat, but you're not a foodie person.
Yes,
How so? How so? It's just completely the opposite, right?
something like that.
Hello?
Yes, hello?
I thought we lost you. Okay. So let me ask you this. Do you think that we should only eat food to get strength, or do we eat food for the pleasure of it?
For strength, I think. Not for the pleasure of it. Yes,
But
healthy food, I think.
okay, but don't you eat something that you love?
Yes, I do. I eat something. I can eat one food I like for like 1 week.
Okay.
So I'd say you go for both, eat to live and live to eat at the same time, right?
Yes.
It seems like it.
Uh,
All right, we appreciate your call, Leon. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your
please,
call.
can I add something finally?
Okay, go ahead.
Like I heard Hala yesterday. Like Hala says, you guys won the best presenters of Saudi Arabia, correct?
Yes, we did. And
Okay.
we want to thank everyone who voted for us. We're speechless, I mean.
Yeah, I just want to tell you guys that you deserve it, and you have a great show, so keep it up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We
Thank
appreciate it, Leon. Thank you very much.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We would like to thank everyone who voted for us. Yes, we won the vote. I mean, surprisingly, we won the vote for being the best duo hosts, or co-hosts, if you will. Me and Adil.
Co-presenters, yeah.
Yes, co-presenters. I mean,
Well, thank you very much if you voted for us. I mean, of course, we're the best.
we're speechless. We can
Yeah.
That caught me off guard, but thank you very much. We were speechless. I mean,
Sometimes
come on.
you need to brag about something,
Yeah, not
especially for a win. you
For
know.
me, I don't. I actually appreciate all the efforts.
We appreciate that, of course.
You go with the brag, I go with the
Yeah,
thanking.
So let's continue with our resident psychologist in the building, Mr. Mohamad Almakky. So we were talking about healthy food, okay, and healthy diet as well. Right now, I'm on a diet, and trust me, it's so hard.
You're struggling. I can
I'm
see you there.
struggling. I'm
Yes.
struggling. It's so hard to maintain it. I mean, yes, I want to neglect the junk food. I want to live healthy. So
It's-
this is why.
It's so easy to tease you, by the way.
Well, okay.
Yeah, because I got chocolate here and you can't even have it.
No, trust me, it's not working.
I know.
It's not working.
It is working.
I'm not. I'm
To
not.
some
I'm
point,
not
it is
chocolate
working.
milk kind of guy. Anyways,
You had
so-
chocolate last week.
Yeah, that was a one-time thing.
See? It worked.
It was a one-time thing.
But it worked.
One time
No.
leads to another. So
There we
No,
go.
it didn't lead to another one. Trust me. Anyways, so let me ask you this: in the psychologist point of view, why do we, or why is it so hard to maintain a healthy diet?
It's not really hard. I mean, that's the normal thing, is that we eat healthy, we eat what we find in front of us. And back in the days, there's a lot of greens, so it's easier for you to get the greens before you get the meat and so on. But nowadays, because everything became accessible and very easy to obtain, it's becoming hard for us to accept the thing that tastes less than the one that gives us the energy, the boost of happiness that we need. Like, for example, the fats, the butter and all that stuff, when it's included in the food, it gives us a huge amount of amazing flavor, and that's when we need to eat a lot of it. But then if you want to go to the healthier alternative, without the butter, without the stuff, we find it kind of
Bland.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's why we don't.
You know
tend to
what?
eat a lot.
Surprisingly, the healthy diet I'm going through, it's actually tastes nice.
That's awesome.
It is.
I mean, you can get healthy food. You can be creative and add the seasonings that you need. Just choose a better, healthier alternative to get the food that you need and enjoy the food that you eat instead of getting the ones that are bad for health. As I mentioned, I'm not a nutritionist, so I'm not really gonna go indulge into
from experience, though.
But it's from experience, exactly.
But are you out of for sure? Are you feeling the taste that it's actually good?
Yeah, it is actually good. But you know, the vegetarian burgers, they're not that good. Yeah, they taste okay.
I can't even think of a vegetarian burger.
You know,
it doesn't look.
you know,
it doesn't look
Here's the thing.
usual to me.
Here's
though.
the thing. Here's the thing. I really want to, for one day, just to have like a cheat day, okay, where I eat one meal, greasy meal.
It's supposed to be. I think a
One
lot of people they say
fat
this
meal.
because it breaks it, and
Yeah.
at the same time you treat yourself for all the hard work you've been putting into following a diet.
Yeah,
So it's good to
but-
treat yourself, but treat yourself to a limit. Because
Yeah,
I know some
yeah,
people
yeah.
they go, it's a cheat day.
Trust
they
me,
go eat
yeah.
anything they find.
Anything anything I find, and you know what? If one day I have that cheat day, trust me, I'm gonna spend a lot of money on just one meal.
I think you're gonna close the
One meal.
restaurant. I think you're gonna close the restaurant just for yourself.
Maybe
It seems like it.
it could be that, to be honest. Could be that.
You know, talking about the vegan community and the vegetarian community, if you saw that, like the old Japanese people, they live for 100+ years because most of their food diet is mostly from the greens, from vegetables, and they eat less meat and more fish. They get the fats, the healthy fats from the fish. They get the healthy fats from the nuts. So they tend to live longer because of the food selection that they eat.
Wow,
we need
that
to
is
take
honest.
care of our own food consumption.
Yep.
Regarding that, it's scary, man.
Okay, let me ask you another question. Why do people hate eating specific kinds of food?
Well, we can go in depth to that, but
Okay.
since you started that topic, let's talk about the eating disorders, because that could be a part of an eating disorder.
Okay.
Now, psychology is the science that studies the behavior and what's going in the mind and how does the mind reflect your body. Eating disorders in general, it happens as a result of severe disturbance in eating behavior, such as unhealthy reduction of food intake or extreme overeating. So
There's no balance in there.
Exactly. And only in the U.S., there's 20 million females and 10 million males that suffers from some kind of eating disorder. So if we went in depth to this, let's understand eating disorder. It's a complex medical and psychiatric illness. It has a huge consequences on health, productivity, and in relationships. So food it is a huge part of our human being. We need food to live, but also when we eat more of it or when we eat less of it, it also affects our body dramatically, psychologically or physically.
Wow.
So mentally and physically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think we got a phone call here. So let's just pick up the phone and say hello.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Yeah, hi. Maher here from Jeddah.
Maher from Jeddah, welcome.
Yeah, hi.
How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm fine, going. How are you?
We're all good here.
We're all good, yeah. So tell me, what do you think about the topic? Do we live to eat or eat to live?
I think we eat. We live to eat. It's not that one. I think we eat to live.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, the purpose of survival is not the only of eating. I mean, it's not only eating. I mean, there are many other purposes to live. Though eating is one of the main priority to make our survival or to make our livelihood flourishing.
Wow. That's a
Okay.
good point. That's a good point.
So there are many other psychological factors, emotional factors which contribute for our livelihood besides eating. Even though if you keep on eating for living, I mean it doesn't make your survival or your livelihood flourishing. What I understand. So yeah, that's what I understand.
Wow. All right. Thank you very much for your call, sir. Thank you very much. It was very informative. Thank you very
Good
much.
points, yeah.
Yeah, welcome.
Bye bye. All right, so you have more questions, Adi? Seems like you always full of questions.
Yeah, I am full of questions.
But please don't come up with the questions that you have before you go to bed. Do you remember that question you gave us about the dinosaur?
You know, no, these kind of questions keep me up at night.
How did they come to your mind in the first place?
I don't know. They just come up in my mind.
Figure it. Search for your brain, man.
Okay, should we ask our psychologist here?
Go ahead.
You know, let's ask our psychologist here something not about psychology, but you know, it's one of my questions that keep me up at night sometimes.
There we go. Just brace yourself. Embrace yourself.
Okay. Of course, you know dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. How do we know for sure that you know, the in movies the sound they make, it's actually their sound?
That's
maybe they meow, maybe they bark like dogs, maybe they were
true.
pets.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
My
That'd
God.
be a cool question.
Well, it is. That question keeps me up at night.
Keep me out of this question. I can't even picture it, man. It's
Anyways.
just too much for my brain.
Anyways, let's continue.
All right, so Adil, you were asking about why do some people tend to eat some food and they
yeah.
hate some kind of food.
Yeah. What do you think?
So that is a part of some kind of psychological disorders. Now, psychological disorders usually happen during adolescence and early adulthood, but some cases it goes during childhood and in adulthood.
Okay.
And in your kind of scenario, the question that you were asking, it's one kind of psychological disorder called avoidant restrictive food intake disorder, or in short, ARFID.
Wow.
So that's the lack of interest in eating or food, or avoiding food based on a past negative experience. Like, for example, by the food itself, you didn't tend to like that kind of food, so then your brain keeps telling you never eat this food again because you had a negative experience.
Wow.
Or sometimes it's because of the sensory characteristic, like for example the smell of the food, the taste of the food, or the texture of the food. Some people don't like the gooey food, some people don't like the crunchy food, so then they tend to hate eating that kind of food. And
I'm
they
a visual
avoid it.
person. I'm a visual person, so I agree with that point there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the presentation of the food actually makes me want to eat the food.
Yeah, but sometimes
It's not
even
only the taste.
sometimes if the taste is not good, when it comes to the presentation is good.
It
So
makes you hungry.
no, but I don't eat it. Like if the presentation is good,
Yeah.
but the taste is not good,
Because you're weird. Okay.
I am weird. I eat what I like.
Okay.
Well, as a psychologist,
Yeah.
I can be in his part. I'm going to tell him, hey, maybe because you had a bad experience in the
okay.
past that
Maybe.
led to this, you know, to where you are today.
Okay.
Some people call it picky eating,
Yes.
but but it's not actually a thing. I mean, it's not like people say, hey, don't be a picky eater. Just eat whatever you have to eat. But no, it could be a psychological disorder that he might need some help to eat better.
Wow.
Usually it develops
Wow.
during infancy and early childhood, and it could continue to adulthood. So some people would eat, for example, they ate a tomato, they had a bad experience eating that kind of tomato,
Yeah.
and now they're
I
scared
could
of
relate.
eating that tomato, or they hate the smell and texture of that tomato, so they
Yeah.
don't eat it.
I can relate to it.
Right,
I can relate in some way as well.
but then we don't really look at this as a disorder if it doesn't have a negative effect in your everyday life. For example, if you have a significant weight loss, or a failure to achieve expected weight gain in children, or significant nutrition deficiency, that's when we tend to see this as a disorder that they might need some help. There are some clients that they say, I don't like food. Period. I don't like it.
Like
Wow.
in general?
In general, I don't like it. I just forcefully eat something just to live, because that is a psychological disorder. And some people would say,
Wow.
it's not that I just don't eat it. That's why it's called avoidant food intake disorder.
Wow.
But there's the restrictive food disorder, which is restricting themselves to some kind of food. It's not also like I choose to be a vegetarian, I'm not going to eat meat. No, it's that I cannot eat meat because I don't eat meat.
Oh.
And
Wow.
that is a psychological disorder.
Wow.
Never thought it could go this deep.
Exactly.
All right. I think we got a phone call, right? Yes, we
Yes,
got
we
a phone
do.
call. Hello, caller.
Hello, finally. Good afternoon, good evening.
Good-
Congratulations to the mentor of SRFM.
Thank you very much. Is this M?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
it is,
Welcome to Car Talk, the weekend edition. We appreciate your call and thank you for congratulating
Thank
us
you.
on the winning. Thank you very much.
Yes. Can I ask? I don't know. A psychologist, doctor.
Yes.
Mr. Mohamad Almakky.
Yes.
Yes, hi.
Hello. Good evening, doc.
Good evening.
Doc,
Good evening.
is it true when you eat spinach it causes pimples? And secondly, question is when you eat string beans or the beans from the luba or pasulya, is it true you make some arthritis?
That's actually a good question, but mostly the better to answer this question is like a medical doctor, a nutritionist.
Okay.
Yes, because you might have like a food allergy or something like this. But usually, if we want to think about it in a psychological perspective, it's only if you had like a negative experience with that kind of food that your body interacts differently to that kind of specific food.
Okay. Your topic for today is living to eat or eat to live.
Yes.
What do you think?
What
us.
living, ing or live?
Live to eat or eat to live? It's a simple question,
Okay.
but a hard answer.
You
So give us.
the word.
What do you think?
For me, for the direction for the word is eat nutritious, delicious, or delicious but no full of nutritious. That's for me.
Okay. Okay.
So because we're delicious, no nutritious, like your burger for fast food or something, that for me means thank you and congratulations and bye.
Thank you
Alright,
very
thank you
much,
very
Em.
much.
That was wonderful. We appreciate it, Em.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Car Talk the Weekend Edition right here on SRFM, your one-stop entertainment. Yes, so for today, it's a big show, if you will, no pun intended.
Big show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We want you, dear listeners, to join us on the conversation. If you have questions, go ahead and call us on.
012-648-4691.
Again, that's 012-648-4691. Or on Twitter account, just go to the hashtag CarTalkWE_SRFM.
Yes, and the topic for today, or the question of the day is, do we live to eat or eat to live?
All right, so we're gonna. You mentioned something before the break, Mohammed,
Yes.
about the psychological disorder when it comes to food. Can you just give us, like, you got us intrigued there. I mean, it seems really, really deep to think about it
Yeah.
that way.
Wow.
And it's really important to know our mental thoughts, how we actually perceive things, and connect it to the future, the past and the future.
Definitely.
So, could you just elaborate, give us more
Sure.
examples
So we were
to make it
talking
easier?
about the avoidant restrictive food intake disorder. I can give an example, but sometimes we might this thing could mislead us. For example, there is the female, this is a case study, there's a female who went to an Indian restaurant. She's American, so this is her first experience in eating Indian food.
Okay.
So she smelled the aroma of curry. So she ordered a chicken curry. She ate that chicken.
Yummy.
Yes. And after she ate that, she had a food poisoning. Now her brain kind of made a connection between the smell of curry and the food poisoning, which led her
okay.
to stop eating curry. She said, I will never eat curry again because curry leads to food poisoning. I got poisoned.
Okay.
But in fact, if you looked at it in a different way, curry is only a spice. There is no really poisoning in it. The only poisoning that could happen is through the chicken.
Oh, right.
But because of the mind, it triggers the smell first before eating something and before looking at something. The smell sensory is stronger than any other sensory. So she made the connection between those two. Once you tell her that, and she realizes that, wait, curry is actually not poisonous, then she can eat that food again. But this is not kind of avoidant restrictive food intake disorder because she has not developed an extreme issue regarding it, like the significant weight loss or failure to achieve the expected weight gain or so on and so forth. But it's just a psychological perspective of misunderstanding food sometimes.
This is how amazing the human brain is.
It is amazing. It is sophisticated as well.
Yeah, it connects the past to the future, and it kind of does the calculations and the what do you call it, analysis.
Okay.
and it assumes that this is the cause of this, where in fact it isn't. If we just do research to understand it, and especially if you like the food, I mean, if you like the curry, why do you stop eating it after knowing that it can never be poisonous?
Wow.
You could also do a case study on me, because I don't like tomato, but somehow, some way, when I eat my burger, I like it, to be
Tomato-less.
Yeah.
Tomato-less.
No, actually, I like tomato with my burger, but when I see the tomato itself, okay, I don't like to eat it raw.
Okay, here's the question.
I like to eat it like, I don't like to see it, but I like to eat it like inside the burger. That's it.
What if you take a bite from the burger and you see the tomato there? What do you feel?
I feel normal, because I focus on the meat more.
Really? It's
than the
bright
tomato
red in
itself.
there. It's bright red. It's
okay.
obvious to
No,
see.
It's okay, no.
So you don't take it off.
It's a slice. No, it's a slice.
So
Okay,
you don't take it out of the burger.
No.
Usually that's because of just a past experience that you've had, like a bad experience in the past.
Maybe.
Where maybe some of your parents kind of scared you when you were eating a piece of tomato or something like that, and
Or
your
maybe
brain
made
made a connection between this one
Maybe I don't like the taste of it.
probably.
Yeah. Maybe.
Never know.
You don't even know. Yourself, you don't even know.
I don't know, man. I can go down the memory lane and just find out why I don't like tomatoes. But anyways,
Yeah, I would like to talk more about like some psychological disorders,
Okay.
like regarding or food psychological disorders.
okay.
There is also something called anorexia nervosa. Anorexia nervosa is an intense fear
What a
of
big word, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are they?
it's an intense fear of gaining weight or becoming fat.
Oh, okay.
Like they look
Okay.
at the mirror, even though they're good in shape, but they always see themselves as obese or they don't look good.
So it's some sort of an illusion.
Exactly, but it's a chemical. I mean, it's their mindset. They see themselves as being very fat, and they need to lose weight. So what they tend to do is that they persistently restrict the food intake, and they always tend to see themselves as being overweight. So what happens is that they try to exercise excessively. Like for example, they eat smaller amount of food, like popcorn, for example. They eat popcorn for the whole day, and then they exercise for 5 hours to burn the fat. So they exercise excessively, or they continuously do, diet, or they fast continuously. They eat like a very, very, very small amount of food to keep them just living. Other use of self-induced vomiting. Sometimes they use self-induced vomiting to
Self-induced vomiting.
Exactly.
Wow.
So they eat that just small portion of food, and then they do the self-induced vomiting, or they misuse the laxatives to get rid of all the food that they took. So they suffer from depression, brittle hair or nails, low blood pressure, slow breathing, absence of menstrual periods, and so on and so forth. And their weight is usually less than the average weight that they have to be. But yet they see themselves still as obese people.
Let me ask you this. Is there a link between that and being in shape and happiness?
Well, that's another way, but it's not like a psychological disorder as much as this one is. So this one, they have to go to a psychiatrist, and they have to go to a medical doctor profession. Plus, they can seek therapy, and all those three together, they could help them overcome their fear and their issue.
Wow.
There is another psychological disorder or an eating disorder called bulimia nervosa. Now, bulimia nervosa
Another
is
big word, yeah.
Yes, it's a frequent episodes of eating large amounts of food. So they binge eat. So pretty much in one meal they can eat like 4,000 calories.
Oh, yeah.
7,000 calories. They eat so much food, but after they eat that kind of amount of food, they go and they self-vomit, or they use the laxatives to get rid of that food. They are not as bad shape as the ones who are suffering from anorexia nervosa, because when they ate that much food, at least some of that got in their body, in the system,
Digested and using the energy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
and then the rest goes out. So they're not obese, and they're not like the anorexia nervosa people who are suffering from that. And those usually suffer from depression or mood swings. They have issues with the regular menstrual periods, dental problems like tooth decay, heartburns, kidney problems, severe dehydration, because they're getting rid of all the food that they just put inside of them. Now that's another psychological disorder. And there's a third one called binge eating disorder. Now this is someone who eats in large amounts of food, but they don't follow it with vomiting or laxative or anything like that. So they maintain that food. So those are the ones who are obese, but they eat so much food, like crazy amount of food, and it's not like regular obesity. So what they do is that they eat until they're uncomfortably full. They eat much more rapidly than normal. They eat large amount of food when they're even not hungry. In an average, at least once a week for 6 months that they binge eat. That's when we know that it's a psychological disorder.
Is it the same as muscle builders when they eat a lot of food?
No, I think that's different. When it comes to muscle building, at least they work out. They use that energy they consume in order to convert it from calories into, like components to build their muscles.
Bodybuilders, they know that they're eating this much and they want to eat that much.
Yeah.
But for binge eating disorders, sometimes they just do it without even realizing it.
Okay.
Oh, without realizing.
Without realizing.
Exactly.
Okay.
See, what happens is that they see themselves overweight. They feel disgusted that they're overweight, and then they binge eat again.
What's the point? How do they get this in their mind?
Well, they couldn't actually do it themselves, but it happens. It's a psychological disorder that they could seek help. Now, our research, it doesn't really tell us what's the cause of eating disorders. There's nothing, really direct, but we know that some things led to another. And as I mentioned earlier, that it starts, during adolescence, early adolescence, early adulthood, and then in some cases it happens during childhood and adulthood.
Wow, man.
That's crazy.
So these are some of the psychological or eating disorders. There's even more than this, but these are just some of the eating disorder. There's another eating disorder that they tend to eat papers, pencils, mattresses.
Whoa.
They eat whatever they can see.
Whoa.
And it's also a psychological disorder. That
Really?
There are people who have this
Wow.
issue, and there's treatment for all of these kind of disorders.
I just remember that someone I know used to actually like the taste of dust for some reason. I don't know.
That might be actually related to iron deficiency, by the way. I think so. I've read that somewhere.
Yeah, because like he just with a finger, just take a lemon, just taste it. He likes it. For what reason? I don't know. Like it was weird.
But eating sand or a mattress or a paper continuously every day as a meal, then
that's extreme. That's extreme. That's extreme.
That's the thing about that. As a meal,
it's hard to hear.
Go outside and get yourself.
What, you gotta cook it or something?
Go outside and get yourself some sand and on a plate and with the fork and with a spoon and eat sand.
You're enjoying the gesturing and everything, Adil. You just
think about that.
Well,
okay.
Dear listeners, you want to join us? Feel free to join us. The number is 012-648-4691. Again, Adil?
That's 012-648-4691.
Feel free to weigh in. Tell us what you think about the topic. Do we eat to live or live to eat?
We're going to take a short break and we will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. I'm walking away from the I'm not good with singing, but I like that song so much. They say old is gold. They say old is gold.
You have a horrible, horrible voice.
I know that.
Don't sing again.
But when it comes to happiness, there's nothing that can stop me.
Okay.
Not even you.
Not even chocolate? I'll give you chocolate.
No, chocolate will boost it for me.
Okay. Wow.
There you go. It's right in the middle here.
Wow, okay.
Because you're on a diet, so you can see it every time you speak.
Trust me, it's not going to affect anything, no.
Well, indirectly, it does.
No. In
a way.
No. It's not going to do anything to me.
By the way, let's just remind our dear listeners, the phone number is 012-648-4691.
The phone number is 012-648-4691.
Feel free to weigh in with your questions about the psychological view of eating, let's just say, and answer the question, do we eat to live or live to eat? We'd like to listen to you guys.
Now, let me ask our resident psychologist here.
Mohamad Almakky.
Yes, sir. Let me ask you a question. So, when we talk about food and stuff, keep food, at the side for a minute.
Okay.
Now let's talk about exercising. Does exercising improve the mood? Is it important?
That is a good question. There are a lot of scientific research that talks about exercising, and it has a good influence on the human being.
Okay.
But then we have a lot of clinics, psychological clinics, that don't usually practice this as much, and they don't really tend to tell their clients to do exercises or to walk. But there's actually a huge link between exercise and mood. Now, as exercise acts as a mood enhancer, we found that in a stressful day, when you go out for a run or walk, you feel much better. And Mohsen, you also mentioned this at the beginning of the interview.
Yeah.
And that's actually true. We use exercise as treatment for people who suffer from anxiety and depression. We found a lot of a great link regarding this matter. Research suggests that exercise can help elevate long-term depression. Not only that, but there's also a correlational study that has a good data to suggest that active people are less depressed than those who are inactive people. So in general, exercise is actually good.
Wow.
And there's actually a clinic in Ohio. The counselor would suggest to their clients, hey, would you like us to go for a walk and talk at the same time?
Wow, that's interesting.
and
That's
talk.
really good.
Yes.
Walk and
Really
talk.
good.
Wow.
Hit two birds with one stone. Talk about the issue, and at the same time, you walk, you do the exercise, so your mood changes while you walk.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. And since diabetes and obesity go hand in hand, exercise would be the best approach. So there was an actual study when they took people suffering from obesity and put them in a 12-week program that consisted of exercising plus cognitive behavioral therapy, which is what we do. And they've shown a huge improvement to those compared to those who are in the control group. Not only that their depression level improved, but also their blood market that reacts as a blood sugar control also did. So there's a big improvement for those who are suffering from obesity and diabetes in both ways.
Right. Wow.
I can't say anything about that. That's just brilliant.
Yes.
To think about it, it's a great method.
Sometimes when you do something and you find out that there is a scientific proof about it, it's just amazing. I mean, we've always had this. We've always been doing it, exercising, but we never knew the benefits of it, the psychological benefits of exercising. And now science proves it. Wow.
Sometimes we just need to think deeply about the matter in order to understand the benefits of that. All right, it seems like we get a phone call. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hello, can you reduce the volume from the radio, please? Because we can't hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
listen to us through the phone.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm Salman. How are you all?
Welcome, Salman. We're all good here, thank you. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm fine. How's your weekend?
All good. Amazing here from me. How about yourself?
I'm studying actually. Having exam Sunday.
Oh, you have an exam on Sunday.
Yeah.
Have you prepared yourself for it?
Almost. Like a small revision left. That's it.
Okay. Do your best there.
Thank you.
All right. So, what do you think about the question? What is your input? What is your input? Do we eat to live or live to eat?
I eat to live.
Eat to live. Can you
Yeah.
elaborate? Why do you think that?
Like, I don't know how to tell, but I think I'm in middle, both of them. Both
Okay.
of them. Neither this nor that.
How is
I don't-
that? How is that? How is that?
Like, you can't even keep your favorite food aside also. Like, you're always, I'm telling that I live to eat. Sorry, eat to live. Like, you can't, my favorite food is albik. So, you can't keep that also aside. To be honest, I'm in between both.
I don't really know what to say.
It depends on the situation. We know it's a tricky question. We understand that, but we can feel it that it depends on the mood, like what mood you're in. If you want to enjoy your favorite food, or you feel like you're hungry and you want to eat to get the strength to do your activities. So we can understand.
It depends upon scenario, the situation. Yeah. And what about you? I just tuned in, so I don't know that much.
Well, we've talked about it in length, but let me ask you this. Do you have any question for our resident psychologist here?
How to study more efficiently?
How to study more efficiently? I think that's a psychological question for you. It's off topic, but it is psychological.
Okay, well, Salman, I hope you're doing well and best of luck in your exam. I would say that there are different methods that you can do to do better in your tests and exams. One of them is chunking, and pretty much chunking is putting a bunch of ideas into small portions to easily remember them. Like, for example, if you want to remember a telephone number, instead of saying 059765 and so on, you'll say 059 700 350 460 and so on. And you can do that one, whatever subject that you have, you can chunk the ideas and put it in small portions. That would be easier for you to remember.
That's actually how I memorized my phone number. Anyways.
Okay, separate. We have to just separate things and by heart them.
Exactly.
Separate, get the idea, separate them, and then learn.
Exactly. And another way that you can do that is that try to sit at the same location where you usually sit during your exam. Like, for example, if you usually sit in the first row during your classes, try to sit in the same place during the exam. Try to wear the same cologne that you had during the previous days. Try to wear the same clothes during your time when you studied that exam. All of these are stimulus that would make you remember the details as much possible, details during your time when you were studying, so that when you want to retrieve them, you can easily retrieve all of these information by having the same stimulants that you had before. So smell is one of the strongest thing. So if you have a special cologne, try to wear them all the time and so on.
I saw in YouTube also, a guy said, put chewing gum and study, and while writing the exam, put the same chewing gum and write.
That's true.
Is that true?
Yes.
We'll remember all those things.
Exactly. It's the same stimulants. Whatever you have, you had in mind before, and you do the same thing, it will easily retrieve your information.
Actually, we might have an episode specifically for that later on.
Yeah, really.
All right.
It will be really helpful.
All right.
Just make sure that you study well, and hopefully
Inshallah.
you will succeed. Just have a faith in yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Salman.
Thank you very
Have
much.
a good day.
You too.
Thanks a lot.
Final question here. From me to you, Mr. Mohamad Almakky.
Yes, go ahead.
All right, it seems like a lot of people who go to the gym, for example, or do some sort of exercise, they sometimes struggle to go and do those activities.
Yes.
They are less motivated.
Yes, I know it's a psychological matter because it seems like it's in their brain, but when you look at them, like physically, they have the energy. But how do you motivate them? What do you say to them in order for them to get self-motivated to go and do those exercises?
That's one of the toughest questions ever, because we try to do the research on motivation and what makes somebody motivated, especially doing dieting or losing weight or gaining muscles and so on, and we find it really difficult. But there are some stuff that it's like a tricky stuff that you can do that would help motivate you. You'll find it funny, but it's actually working. They say that try to give money to someone, to a close friend, give them that money, tell them that by the end of this much time, I would lose as much weight as possible.
Ooh.
And by then, give me that money, or else it's yours.
Wow.
So they find that it's very effective. One thing is that when you want to do something to lose weight or to gain muscle or so on, you don't feel motivated, try to bring someone else with you to keep you motivated. I know it's easy as it sounds, but I myself struggle from doing exercises. It's not just because I don't feel motivated, but also because of the time. I try to sort my time to things that I find important the most.
Well, when it comes to the suggestion of money, I'm definitely not giving it to Adil. Not giving it to Adil. I'll give it to someone else.
Why? Why is that? What's wrong with me?
No, I just don't want to give it to you.
I'm not gonna take it. I mean, if you lose
No, 'cause
weight and gain
you know why?
muscles, I'm gonna give it to you. But
No, I'm thinking maybe you'll get some cravings and you can use my money to go and buy some stuff and
well,
then you
that's a
don't use the dime.
well, that's a possibility.
See, I'm not wrong there.
Well,
But unfortunately, we would like to go on and on, but we're running out of time. We got half a minute on the clock. But it was a pleasure to have you, Mohamad Almakky, on the show. It's been tremendous. It's been amazing. It's been wonderful. And we hope you guys enjoyed the episode as well.
Mr. Mohamad Almakky, just quickly, how do people get to you?
They can find me. I'm a teaching assistant at King Saud bin Abdulaziz University for Health Sciences, and I'm also a psychologist at ZAD Self Center and Training. They can also go to my Instagram page, Dr.Makki, and I'm so happy to be a host with you guys. Thank you so much for your time.
We appreciate it. And until next time, tomorrow the same time, 4:30 to 6 p.m.
Yeah, stay. Wow. Okay, you put me on the clock.
Okay.
We'll see you then.
Hasta mañana.